goes blind, and tragically dies after revealing a painful secret. Michael Nesmith was born Robert Michael Nesmith on December 30, 1942 in Houston, Texas, was much more than a member of a popular 1960s band. He was a pioneering artist, innovative producer, and a quiet revolutionary whose influence helped shape the course of modern music, television, and video production. First primarily by his mother, Bette Nesmith Graham, an enterprising woman who would later invent liquid paper, Michael grew up in a household that encouraged creativity, resourcefulness, and independent thinking, qualities that would later define his approach to art and business. After a stint in the U.S. Air Force, Nesmith moved to Los Angeles, where he pursued a career in music, performing in coffee houses, and penning songs under the name Michael Blessing. His songwriting talent quickly became apparent, and some of his early works were picked up by other artists, including Different Drum, which became a breakout hit for Linda Ronstadt and the Stone Ponies. This song alone established him as a gifted lyricist and composer, even before he achieved national fame. Nesmith's life changed dramatically when he was cast as one of 4 members of the television rock group, the Monkees, in 1965. Originally created as a fictional band for a lighthearted TV show aimed at teenagers, the Monkees quickly transcended their scripted origins, becoming a genuine musical phenomenon. Alongside Davy Jones, Mickey Dolenz, and Peter Tork, Nesmith brought charisma, dry wit, and musical credibility to the group. While the Monkees' early recordings were primarily handled by professional songwriters and studio musicians, Nesmith advocated fiercely for the group's artistic autonomy. He was instrumental in their eventual transition into playing their own instruments and writing much of their own material, a significant move that changed the public perception of the band from manufactured to respected artists. Among his many contributions to the Monkees' discography, Nesmith wrote and performed songs such as Papa John's Blues, You Just May Be the One, and Listen to the Band, which reflected his deep-rooted love for country rock, and showcased a thoughtful lyrical depth that stood apart from the band's more bubblegum offerings. His insistence on musical quality and authenticity earned him both respect and occasional conflict within the Monkees' tightly controlled environment. Yet through it all, he remained focused on artistic integrity, paving the way for the band to produce their critically acclaimed album, Headquarters, on which the Monkees played all the instruments themselves. A bold move that few believed they could pull off. After leaving the Monkees in 1970, Michael Nesmith embarked on a solo career that allowed him to explore the blend of country, rock, and storytelling he so passionately loved. Forming the first national band, he released a string of albums that are now seen as pioneering works in the country rock genre. Albums like Magnetic South, Loose Salou, and Nevada Fighter were critically lauded, though initially underappreciated commercially. Over time, however, these albums have gained a cult following, and Nesmith's role in shaping the sounds that would later be popularized by acts like the Eagles and Poco is now more widely acknowledged. Songs like Joanne, a minor hit in 1970, showcased his unique voice, poetic sensibility, and skillful blending of musical styles. But Michael Nesmith's talents weren't confined to music alone. A visionary entrepreneur, he was also a pioneer in the field of music video and multimedia production. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, he created Elephant Parts, a groundbreaking video project that combined comedy sketches with music videos in a format that foreshadowed the coming of MTV. In fact, Nesmith is often credited with inventing the concept of the modern music video. He later developed a television series, Pop Clips, that served as a direct inspiration for MTV. For his innovative work on Elephant Parts, he received the first Grammy Award ever given for a music video, affirming his status as not only a performer, but a technological innovator with a deep understanding of how music and media could intersect. In the 1980s and 1990s, Nesmith continued to write, produce, and innovate. He authored novels and continued to produce solo records, maintaining a loyal fan base. He also managed his own multimedia company, Pacific Arts, through which he released various creative projects. His business acumen was perhaps best demonstrated when he successfully sued PBS in the 1990s for breach of contract, winning a multi-million-dollar judgment and establishing his savvy, not just as an artist, but as a businessman who understood the value of intellectual property. Throughout his life, Nesmith remained deeply thoughtful, philosophical, and spiritual. He explored themes of identity, creativity, and meaning in both his art and personal musings. His 2017 memoir, Infinite Tuesday and Autobiographical Riff, offers a profound and introspective look at his journey, filled with candid insights into fame, artistry, and the spiritual quests that shaped his life. Michael Nesmith experienced a complex and multifaceted personal life that spanned decades, marked by 3 marriages and 4 children, each chapter reflecting a different stage of his journey as both an artist and a man. He met his first wife, Phyllis Ann Barber, in 1964, while he was attending San Antonio College in Texas. At the time, Nesmith was a young man navigating early adulthood, full of ambition and artistic curiosity. Phyllis, a fellow student, became an important figure in his life during these formative years. Their relationship blossomed quickly, and the couple married soon after meeting. Together, they built a family. As Michael's fame was beginning to take shape, their first child, Christian Duval Nesmith, was born in 1965, right at the cusp of Nesmith's meteoric rise with the Monkees. Christian would go on to follow in his father's footsteps as a musician and producer, even working with his father in later years. Their second child, Jonathan, arrived in 1968 during the height of the Monkees' popularity, a time when Michael's schedule was consumed by filming, touring, and recording. Despite the pressures of his public life, he remained devoted to his family. Their third child, Jessica, was born in 1970, just as Nesmith was beginning to transition away from the Monkees and toward a more independent, artistic path. However, the demands of his career and the strains of balancing fame with family life eventually took a toll on the marriage. Michael and Phyllis divorced in 1972, ending their 8-year union. Despite the separation, he maintained a relationship with his children and was an active presence in their lives as they grew older. In addition to his children with Phyllis, Nesmith also had a son named Jason, born in August 1968, during the height of his television and music fame. Jason's mother was Nurite Wild, a photographer and socialite who became part of the Los Angeles creative scene of the 1960s. Michael met Nurite while working on the Monkees television show, where she was involved in various behind-the-scenes capacities and was a regular presence in the vibrant Hollywood circles Nesmith inhabited. Their brief relationship led to the birth of Jason, and although Nesmith did not marry Nurite, he acknowledged Jason as his son and included him as part of his extended family. The circumstances of Jason's birth highlight the whirlwind nature of Nesmith's life during that era, one in which artistic experimentation, fame, and personal relationships all collided. In 1976, several years after his divorce from Phyllis, Nesmith entered into his second marriage with Catherine Bild, a writer and script supervisor who also worked in the entertainment industry. While details about their relationship are less public, their marriage occurred during a period when Nesmith was carving out a new path as an independent artist, distancing himself from his Monkees image. It was a time marked by intellectual and creative exploration for him, and Catherine, with her own background in storytelling and media, likely shared in and supported these pursuits. Their union represented Nesmith's continued search for stability and companionship as he transitioned further into producing, writing, and expanding his entrepreneurial ventures in music and multimedia. After that marriage ended, Nesmith remained single for several years before marrying a third time. In 2000, he wed Victoria Kennedy, a union that lasted over a decade. This phase of Nesmith's life was marked by maturity and reflection. By this time, he was not only a celebrated figure from his Monkees days, but also a well-established multimedia innovator, having contributed significantly to the evolution of music video and digital media. His marriage to Victoria coincided with a time of resurgence in interest around the Monkees and his solo work, as well as several reunion tours and retrospectives. However, after 11 years of marriage, they divorced in 2011, marking the end of his final marriage. Despite the end of the relationship, Nesmith continued to be active in both his personal and professional life in the years that followed. Parallel to these personal milestones, Nesmith remained committed to his education and artistic growth. After the Monkees television series ended in 1968, rather than simply basking in the glow of pop fame, he chose to pursue further education. He enrolled part-time at the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, where he focused his studies on American history and music history, a reflection of his deep intellectual curiosity and desire to better understand the cultural and artistic movements that shaped the country and his own musical identity. This academic pursuit complemented his creative ambitions, allowing him to think more critically and expansively about the intersection of music, storytelling, and society. In 1973, Nesmith took a bold step in his post-Monkees career by co-founding Countryside Records, an imprint of Elektra Records, with Jack Holtzman, the legendary founder of Elektra. The label was conceived as a way to promote a more nuanced, artist-driven style of country and folk rock genres Nesmith had long admired and sought to develop. Although Countryside was short-lived, it served as a launching pad for his entrepreneurial efforts and demonstrated his commitment to fostering authentic, roots-based music outside the confines of commercial pop. Building on that experience, in 1974, Nesmith established Pacific Arts Corporation, a multimedia production and distribution company that became the home of his most ambitious and experimental projects. Its first major release was The Prison, which he described as a book with a soundtrack, a concept album designed to be read and listened to simultaneously. This groundbreaking project reflected Nesmith's forward-thinking approach to art, blending literature, music, and technology in a way that was virtually unheard of at the time. The Prison was a deeply personal and philosophical work, marking a dramatic departure from his pop roots and signaling his emergence as a visionary creator determined to push the boundaries of traditional media formats. Through his marriages, children, academic pursuits, and innovative work in music and multimedia, Michael Nesmith lived a life rich in creativity, intellect, and evolution, always seeking new ways to express himself and connect with the world around him. In 2018, Michael Nesmith, best known as the wool hat-wearing guitarist and singer of the Monkees, faced a significant and alarming decline in his health that shook both his devoted fan base and his inner circle of friends and family. During what was meant to be a celebratory tour with his longtime friend and Monkees bandmate Mickey Dolenz, Nesmith was suddenly and unexpectedly forced to cancel the final 4 dates. The announcement cited a minor health scare, but behind the scenes, the reality was far more serious and life-threatening. It soon came to light that Nesmith had collapsed during rehearsals, prompting urgent medical attention and immediate hospitalization. Later that summer, on July 26, 2018, Nesmith granted a candid and revealing interview to Rolling Stone, where he pulled back the curtain on his harrowing medical ordeal. He disclosed that he had undergone an extensive and highly invasive quadruple bypass heart surgery, a procedure typically reserved for the most severe cases of coronary artery disease. For over a month, he remained hospitalized, battling not only the physical toll of surgery, but the emotional and existential implications of such a close brush with death. In the interview, Nesmith revealed that the experience had left him reevaluating his life, his career, and the deep emotional wounds he had long kept hidden from the public. Among those revelations, Nesmith quietly alluded to having suffered from vision problems that had worsened in recent years. Though he never publicly confirmed full blindness, close friends noted that he often required assistance navigating even familiar spaces. In private moments, he confided that the world had become increasingly shadowed and blurry, not just in a physical sense, but metaphorically as well. He spoke of regrets, of opportunities missed, and of unresolved pains stemming from childhood trauma, the pressures of fame, and the struggles of maintaining his artistic integrity in an industry that often reduced him to a caricature in a pop band. He longed to be remembered not just as a Monkee, but as a serious musician, songwriter, and visionary who had contributed meaningfully to the landscape of American music. Tragically, Michael Nesmith's health continued to decline in the following years. On the morning of December 10, 2021, he passed away at the age of 78, succumbing to heart failure at his home in Carmel Valley, California. His death marked the end of an era not just for Monkees fans, but for anyone who admired his boundary-pushing work in both music and media. Surrounded by his loving family, Nesmith's final moments were said to be peaceful, a gentle slipping away from the world he had helped shape through his creativity, wit, and intellect. In a heartfelt statement, his family announced, "With infinite love, we announce that Michael Nesmith has passed away this morning in his home, surrounded by family, peacefully and of natural causes." The announcement struck a deep chord with generations of fans who had grown up watching him on television and listening to his music. Tributes poured in from around the world, with many reflecting on his multifaceted legacy, from his pioneering efforts in country rock to his early innovations in music video production that paved the way for MTV. Mickey Dolenz, the last surviving member of the Monkees, memorialized Nesmith in a deeply moving statement, calling him a dear friend and partner. The two had shared a uniquely enduring bond, one forged in the surreal whirlwind of 1960s fame and sustained through decades of musical collaboration and personal connection. Dolenz wrote, "I'm heartbroken. I've lost a dear friend and partner. I'm so grateful that we had the chance to spend the last few months together doing what we loved, playing music and sharing laughter. I will miss him every day." Though he left this world, Michael Nesmith's legacy lives on in the timeless songs he wrote, the creative boundaries he defied, and the profound truths he dared to share before his passing. His journey, marked by artistic courage and personal vulnerability, remains a poignant reminder of the human spirit's complexity and the enduring power of music to heal, connect, and transcend.